Thank you so much, Wendy. Again, really appreciate being here. Thank you for having me. So welcome everyone. I really appreciate everyone being here, and excited about presenting to you your PMO's value. How will you discover it? When it mentioned, a bit of an intro about me, so I'm not going to go bore you with another one, but I did want to mention to you. I know there was a focus on personal and professional development, and based on that, I wanted to let you know that I am also a LinkedIn Learning author with a course on setting up a PMOs. LinkedIn Learning is also known as lynda.com because LinkedIn Learning bought lynda.com. So, either a lot of focus of people I know who are not familiar with LinkedIn Learning are familiar with lynda.com. And I'm also an IDG influencer, which, as you may know, owns CIO.com. So, one of the I did want to go ahead and mention to you about why I do what I do. I coach uh, PMO leaders specifically on making sure that the PMOs are set up or evolving correctly. And the reason why I do this is because one stat really haunts me. I'm sure a lot of you might have heard this stat already. Is right, the Association for Project Management, that 50% of PMOs fail 3 years since their inception. So if I went ahead and started a PMO today and you asked me, hey Hussein, will it be a success or do you think it's going to be a failure? I can literally go ahead and flip up a coin and say heads is going to fail or tails is going to succeed. And you and I, very well know that the value of PMOs is far, far greater than the probability of a coin toss. And there are multiple reasons why that stat exists. We won't go into too much detail about that right now. It could be based on the perception or expectations of the PMO. Um, but I think largely it's also because of the fact that PMO leaders aren't ready to take up that role. And it's not necessarily a fault of their own. They're usually thrust into the position when they're not ready or not given the right time or the support to make it happen, um, uh, or just the expectations from them are unrealistic. And if they're in the first time, doing it for the first time, the capacity for them to push back on them is not strong. And so I found that helping PMO leaders who are in those positions can perhaps make a dent, if you will, in improving the probability of PMO success. And that's really why I do what I do. And now I just want to go ahead and make sure that I learn a bit about you. So I'm curious why, we have about 47 people who are in the attendees list right now, and I'm very curious, why are you here? And you guys can go ahead. There's a chat button, third circle on from the right at the bottom of your screen. And if any of these apply to you, I'd love for you to go ahead and write it out and say, yeah. So are you here because you're a PMO sponsor? If so, if you could please chat in yes, that'd be great. Again, the chat button is the third button from the right at the bottom of your screen. Okay, okay. So we've got a few others. One, is anybody here setting up a PMO for the first time? Okay. Is anybody here want to become a PMO leader one day? All right. And are you a project manager currently in the PMO? Okay. Great. So we've got some folks who want to become a PMO leader one day, some people who are project managers, and then we have a lot of others. I'm curious, all of those of you who have typed in other, What brings you here? I'm curious. All right. I think in the learning and PDUs, PD learning. Okay. Great. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Most of you guys are here for PDUs or just learning something that is beyond what you guys do. Okay. Susanna is a PMO leader. Fantastic. All right. Great. Okay. Now let's go ahead and talk about your project management experience. So, go ahead and please type in whichever applies to you. If you're, and this is all relative, and there's no shame in being either one. Everybody starts from somewhere, and everyone is usually in a different part of their career journey. So, go ahead and type in if you're low, medium, high, or you're really not into project management. Okay, we've got a bunch of highs, some mediums, okay, a few lows, but most of you guys have typed in as highs. Great, great, lovely. All right. And then what company size do you guys usually are currently in? Is it a small company, a medium company, or a large size company? Okay, large, medium, 500 plus, that's large, large. Okay, we've got one small. John works in a small company. Raymond works in a medium organization. All right, large and medium. Robert, do you work for two organizations? All right, great. Well, thank you so much. Robert did. Okay, so you used to work for a large organization, now you work for a medium organization. Got it. Great. Well, thank you everyone. I really appreciate that. It always is a pleasure to learn about, who you're speaking with. And I know in webinars it can become a bit difficult, but thanks to technology, we can get this thing going and have a bit of interaction going. Great. Well, thank you everyone. I really, really appreciate that. Now, I want to go ahead and start, sharing with you the story of a PMO. So, I mean, like I mentioned to you earlier in the chat, that one of the clients that I work for is a global leader in local e-commerce, and they had a fast-paced, get-it-done culture. And within their global customer operations team, they really, really needed to have a PMO setup. And, that was something that became super apparent to them. And so they went ahead and brought in someone who was from the outside, who was an experienced portfolio manager, and really gave her the reins to make sure that the PMO was set up, that it did what it needed to do, and this PMO leader went ahead and brought in as much maturity as she had experienced through her tenure, and started going ahead and implementing that at the organization. And you had all the industry standard processes and tools in place, and she tried to go ahead and keep things moving. But just 1 year later, 12 months later, all the stakeholders wished that the PMO would just go away. So 12 months ago, a dire need was, for PMO was there. They went ahead and, did the due diligence to get the right person on board, and within a short period of 12 months, nobody really wanted the PMO around. In your chat bot, can you tell me what you think happened here? Any thoughts? Any suggestions? Hi, Raymond says